The underrepresentation of the black and brown voice in the room is a problem. But whose though? Because we will continue to feed our children. Despite the invisibility of our voice in mainstream environmental activism, we will continue to feed our children. The problem with our voices not being there is the disconnect from the historical actuality of environmental injustices experienced mostly by those from the global south, the homelands of First Nation peoples, and on the bodies of the diaspora. Black and brown folk are a resource. Now, with the threat of TTIP, US and British corporates fracking the out of their own backyards, and the rampancy of the virus of gentrification funded by international land grabbers in the UK, now even more attention needs to be paid to the minimal presence of diverse groups. But there's this crazy cognitive It's easier to perceive that we are apathetic to climate issues, even to envisage our activism being focused on hashtags saying we deserve to live. You'd think environmental activism did not exist on our radar, but it does. It's easy to perceive that environmental activism is for the privileged, for those whose money is long enough to buy time to save whales, protest outside Parliament and flash mob morally bankrupt corporate oil headquarters. In the kitchen of racist resource inequality, discriminatory policy cooks up a pot of impoverishment for the city, with diabetes, obesity and malnutrition, constrictive breathing conditions from the cold and toxic air quality, biased education, job rejection, a prison destination, and help yourself. Take these. No, you will take these. The resourcism is real, and the breath in Black and brown eco-activism is a living, breathing reality, relegated to mainstream activism's blind spot. Do static tropes of Africa in crisis feed a belief that her descendants will always be the historical problem left over from the abolition of the barbaric practice of chattel enslavement? Are these tropes preventing engagement with race? We are all keepers of the garden, and the planet cannot be saved by one group. The saving does not belong to one people, so no disrespect intended, but you do not get a cookie for good intentions. Somewhere in your periphery there is a moving shadow, a tinnitus static in your ear saying, race is a part of social justice. Social justice is inextricable from climate justice. The simple refusal to hear us saying we hold solutions learned from our existence of struggle reveals a lethargy, a reluctance, a resistance to address race. A neoliberal proverb. It is individualist perceptions of what an authentic environmental activist looks like that feeds into divide and rule. It silences core climate justice principles, interconnectivity and interdependence. There is no hierarchy. In actuality, black and brown-skinned environmental activism is rooted in radical resistance whose principles liberate all, because it is work that responds to the immediate needs of the oppressed. Environmental inequality unpicks the fabric of community, and the people stitch and dig till dawn, because the children will be fed and raised to understand that they can say, "F you, mister, I grew my own tomatoes." Shout out to keep the aspidistra flying. So black and brown skin green economy initiatives are born, promoting green education. And that's a beautiful thing, man. Yes, it is a beautiful thing. Time for intentional listening with intent for purposeful action. Can't say we never let you know. Shine a light on that blind spot. Come we grow. Shout out to May Project Gardens.